remember the first day that Levi, the little black lab mix rescue, showed up on our property for boarding. And he got out of the car with his foster mom, and he had like 2 harnesses on and 2 leashes, and you could tell this dog was like out of his mind, terrified. And Mark went out to help the lady bring all the stuff in, and as he approached, Levi freaked out and tried to jump back in the car, and the rescue mom said, "Oh, did the bad man scare you?" And Mark Mark was so upset, like he lost it. Not on her, he was professional with her, but after she left, I had to hear all about like, why would she call me a bad man? Like, what is that gonna do? That dog doesn't know me, and that blah, blah. And I was like, I know, she should at least get to know you before she calls you the bad man, right? And he's like, right, what? Oh, that's not funny, Tracy. He was really, really upset about it. And rightfully so. And it really does stay with the dog. That is the unfortunate reality. The bad man or the poor dog syndrome is real. And that's what we wanted to talk about today on the podcast. From survive to thrive, rethinking your rescue dog's narrative, because your dog's past is part of their story, but it doesn't have to be the whole book. Let's get into it. Ready to have a calm and peaceful life with your dog without the stress of those fear-based behaviors? Hi, I'm Tracy, and I've been there, overwhelmed by all the conflicting dog training advice and unsure of what to do next. But now I help dog lovers like you simplify your life with your dog by building confidence naturally, fostering trust, and addressing those fear-based challenges. So, if you're ready, stop chopping those chicken wieners and let's get to it. Hey there, friend. Ever feel like you're walking on eggshells in your own home? Like one moment your dog seems calm, and the next, boom, a redirect, a meltdown, or a reaction you did not see coming. I know it's exhausting, frustrating, and can leave you wondering what you're doing wrong. And that is why I created the Fearless Framework online group coaching program. It's a 3-step trust-building system to help your fearful or reactive dog build real, lasting confidence. This isn't about obedience or behavior suppression. It's about understanding your dog's fear, learning how to guide them through it, and becoming the calm, steady presence that they can trust. If you're constantly troubleshooting, second-guessing yourself, or just craving peace in your home again, this is your invitation to do it differently. Head on over to beyondobedience.ca/fearless and join us today inside the Fearless Framework. Let's do this together. I can't wait to start this journey with you. I'll see you there. Hey, my dog-loving friend. It's Tracy. Welcome to Beyond Obedience, the podcast. Super duper welcome. If you're brand new to the podcast, hello. I'm so glad that you are here. I am excited to jump into this topic. From survive to thrive, rethinking the rescue narrative. I wanted to talk about this in particular because as someone who, I have a soft spot for the less than confident dog. I have a soft spot for the rescues. I certainly have heard my share of heartbreak stories as a vet tech, working inside the industry. There is a dark underbelly of the dog world. There really is. And I want to make sure before I get into this episode that I am in no way trying to minimize that or to minimize the work of people in rescue or within the shelter system. But I've been thinking a lot about this, and I think I've talked about this inside my programs and whatnot before, and I kind of wanted to take the opportunity to talk about it a little bit more. Certain things that we hold on to as humans, the stories that we hold on to as humans versus what dogs do. Because I have said this, and I'm sure you've heard it before, that dogs dogs just live in the now. They tend to move on pretty quickly. They live in the now. And yet, I should have brought the statistics up. And yet, now more than ever, we're seeing more dogs that are suffering from separation anxieties and all sorts of, crazy. I don't know how to put it into words because being 100, I don't know if the words I say are going to offend people. Isn't it so hard to talk nowadays? So hard to talk. You get my point, though. It's staggering the number of not only dogs, but maybe their owners that are utilizing, medications to help with separation anxieties or anxieties in general and that sort of thing. And I'm not going to get into that. This is not what this topic is about. I'm not putting any shade on medications. I do believe that medications have their place in some cases, yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to get into that. All I'm saying is that I think that there is this correlation of the fact that, innately we understand that dogs live in the now. They don't necessarily have the same world views as we have. They don't have the same views of the future that we have. And as humans, we can get really, really caught up in our heads, and our dogs should be, they should actually be protected from that. And somehow they're not. And a lot of that, I believe, goes to say that our dogs create really close and connected bonds with us, and our emotional response to them certainly does affect their behavior. I don't think anybody out there is going to tell me I'm wrong on that. I mean, maybe somebody will. Somebody's always telling me I'm wrong. But I think that if you're a dog lover like me, you've seen it firsthand. I don't know if you've heard this story. I know certainly the students in the community inside the Fearless Framework have heard the story of my dog Echo, who was a Newfoundland dog, and shortly after my father passed away unexpectedly, I came home from the funeral and all of that sort of thing, and I thought I was doing okay. I thought I was doing okay. I thought I was handling it like a boss. Like I got back into mom mode and we just have to get right back in it. And I came in one day and my dog Echo, who is let me let you in again on this breed. She's a Newfoundland dog. Okay, so we're not talking about a tiny little dog. I came into my bedroom and she was sitting on top of my dresser. Had she ever done that before? No. And the strange thing is she looked just as confused as I did. Like she had that look like, I don't know why I'm up here or how I can get down. Like I had to take a double take. I'm like, is the dog sitting on my dresser? Am I losing my mind? What's happening? And I think that's when it hit me pretty hard that I wasn't okay. I'm not okay. And that not being okay was really starting to rub off on my dogs in strange ways. So I know, I think all of us dog lovers, I think we know that our emotional response to them really does shape them. What is that? They say the dog mirrors us, right? It's a great way to tell how well you're doing. Just take a look at your dog. Some of us now, I just said that line. If you want to know how well you're doing, take a look at your dog. Some of us are like, oh no. Oh no. No, that can't be right. It's true. It's true. And so I wanted to talk a little bit more about rethinking the rescued narrative, because for many of us that have a rescue dog, a lot of those dogs come with a story. Some of that story is true. Some of that story is assumed. And I think that last part is where we go wrong, right? We've made assumptions, and our human mind And if you're in my mind, it can go to the worst case scenario. But our human mind will fill in blanks and create the rest of the story for us if we don't know all the facts. And what happens then is that story, that assumed traumatic backstory, ends up becoming your dog's reality. And the risk of assuming that is that actually could make your dog even more anxious, right? It makes us overly cautious and even permissive, right? That idea that, have you heard that like thoughts become things? Have you heard that? Thoughts become things. It's the power of our mind and all of that. And it's in The Secret and all of that jazzy stuff. But I do believe this to be true in the sense of our dogs for sure. So if your thoughts are like, poor dog, and your actions are actually kind of shaping this idea that your dog is fragile and broken, even when your dog may be ready to move on. And one of the things that used to really kind of upset me, actually, whenever I would come across that when I was working with people in their rescue dogs, and their first thing out of their mouth was to tell me the sad story that the dog had. I do believe, like, don't get me wrong, I do believe it's important for us to know the story, if the story is true. If the story is true. If you're making assumptions, then I don't want to hear the story, because that story is probably shaped by movies you've watched or other things you've heard. Like, it's not necessarily their reality. So I do believe that the story, while having a purpose, right? But the purpose should be for us to see the dog with compassion and understanding and not pity, right? Because pity to us feels kind, but it's not really that helpful to the dog. It lowers expectations, it limits opportunities for growth, and it positions your dog as a victim instead of a survivor, right? And what your dog actually really needs is calm, clear, let me hear you say it loud for the back, leadership. They need you to actually lead and guide them. Right? They need space for the dog to be a dog again, not a project, right? And I know I kind of fall victim to that. Sometimes if I see the sad stories, I'll be like, oh, I could fix that dog. Come into my house, I could fix that dog. I have to kind of catch myself in those ways that the dog probably doesn't need to be fixed. The dog needs to be understood. The dog needs compassion for the things that it's done, but it also needs the ability to get through it. Right? Not for me to necessarily fix it, but to partner up with that dog and help them and guide them through it. Empathy instead of pity, because pity says, poor thing, I'll protect you forever, you poor thing. Empathy says, I see where you've been and I believe in where you are going. What a powerful shift for that dog. What a powerful shift for that dog, right? So I want you to actually, if this is you and you are someone who has rescued a dog and perhaps you've gotten caught into the trap, and hey, I'm going to say no judgment. I probably used to be judgy, when we were younger, we used to kind of judge stuff like this. But I understand the feeling behind the human wanting to share that story, wanting people to know that we've taken the dog from a bad situation. I get that makes us feel good, right? We get to wear a hero cape for a second and it floods our ego with good feelings, right? The ego just loves that. Like, look what I've done. But I want you to shift and rewrite this narrative, right? I really do. Because rescuing that dog, when you rescued that dog, that wasn't that dog's final chapter. In fact, it was just the beginning, wasn't it? Right? I used to say this to people all the time, especially if I knew that was part of the problem and the reason why the dog was stuck and unable to move on. I want you to vow that from this day forward, from the day you heard this podcast, if this is you, and again, no shade on you because I get it, but if this is you, and you've been telling and retelling the story of your dog's past, the story of your dog's trauma, the story of the dog's sad story. If this is you, I want you to, from this day forward, to never tell that story again. And if you do, it sounds like there's a consequence. And if you do, bad things will happen. No. If you do share it in the way that tells the listener about your dog's wins, right? That's what I want you to do. I want you to catalog the wins and journal it and put it down in your notebook and whatnot, and celebrate it and tell everybody about that. Say things like, this dog used to bark at every stranger and now she looks to me for reassurance. Oh my gosh, we've really built a bond of trust here. I really feel like she's starting to trust me. Or he couldn't settle down at nighttime, but now he curls up at my feet while I sit and watch TV. I mean, whatever it is, let your dog be more than their trauma. Okay? Try to think of it as you're not here to fix them. And I struggle with that. I really try hard to stop even internalizing or thinking like, I got to fix this dog, right? I want to partner with them. I want to celebrate them with curiosity and confidence and moments of calm. Those are actually the real milestones. And I want you to talk about that. So if you can, if you're someone who has rescued a dog from a terrible situation, take a second, look your dog in the eye, unless they're still at the stage where they don't like that. Take a second and let your dog know, from this day forward, I promise to never share that story again, because you aren't that story, right? In fact, your dog is with you now. Your dog is living their best possible life. And even if they're not there being able to express their best possible life, they are in it with you. They're with you, and you are awesome. So why would we ever need to tell that other story? Except to frame it as, this is where he was, but look where he's come now. This is what she used to do, but look what she does now. And some people are going to say, that doesn't seem like very much, but you'll know how far the dog has come. You'll know, because you've partnered up with them. Now, this next part here, oh, I say with a sigh, but I think it has to be said. So the other part of the rescue narrative is that sometimes our narrative becomes an excuse, right? Just because your dog had a hard life doesn't mean that it's okay for them to make your life hard. Did you hear me when I said that? Can I say it again? I'll say it again. Just because your dog had a hard life doesn't mean it's okay for them to make your life hard. So I don't want you to enable the behavior by blaming the past or having this idea that it can't get any better because of their past. Resource guarding, reactivity, biting, not an excuse to make your life miserable. Okay? Needs to be understood, definitely needs to be addressed. And we can address it with compassion, right? But compassion without accountability, that equals chaos, my friend. Right? That equals chaos. And I know so many of you that have done the hard work of taking a challenging dog into your home may struggle with this concept. There may be a part of you that feels bad because you are miserable. And that's hard to accept, but you're miserable because your dog is hard to live with. You're feeling like you're not enough. You've got all of these other things going on. And on top of it, you're just excusing it all away because, well, the dog had a rough upbringing, or the dog had this traumatic past, right? Just because they had a traumatic past doesn't mean that we can't say no. It doesn't mean that we can't disagree with their behavior. We may have to work a little bit differently or creatively to be able to disagree with that behavior, to be able to show the dog that this is right, but this isn't right. And that depends on the dog for sure. But we want to make sure that we are seeking clarity on that behavior and not just the backstory. We want to focus on relationship and not just obedience or fixing the dog. And we want to ask the most important question, which is, what does my dog need right now to feel safe? And how can I help my dog feel or be successful? And that part is somewhat challenging. But I'll tell you right now, if you're blaming or excusing the behavior away because of a past, you'll never get any further ahead. And you will continue to struggle. If you are stuck in the messy middle and you're feeling like it's hopeless or you're helpless or I can't really do this because of the dog's poor past, and yet I am miserable, trust me when I say there will be no improvement on the dog's behavior, because dogs stuck in an environment like that, an environment of resentment, are going to struggle to learn anything new. What can you do instead? Well, you can always reach out for some help. You can certainly come and join us over in the Fearless Framework. That would be a great step, because that is going to give you the community that understands. No judgment, completely understands. And that is rare. That is rare. We are an incredible Facebook community of dog lovers that get it and we understand, and there's no judgment, and it's a place where you can be vulnerable and share everything, including the moments of, I'm not really liking my dog right now. And that is rare. Right? If you want to do that, I'm encouraging you to come on over to beyondobedience.ca/fearless. Check out that program. Send me a message if you want to know more about it. I will tell you all about it. So here's what we can do. Let's pull this all together. Here's what we can do. First of all, we're going to ditch the poor baby label. Right? Ditch the poor baby. Oh, poor baby. Stop doing that. Your dog is not a poor baby. Your dog lives with you. You are amazing. You're an amazing human being that has dedicated their life to helping create an incredible life for this dog. Why would you say poor baby to your dog? And why would you allow anyone else to say poor baby to your dog? Someone came up to my dog and was like, oh, poor baby. I'd be like, shut your mouth. My dogs live a great life. Shut your mouth right now. So ditch the poor baby. Start using things like brave, resilient. If we're going to talk about their past, at least talk about how they've overcome it, because now they're with you and look at all the things that they've done. Look at the life they live now, right? Share daily micro wins with your dog. Today she walked past a stroller. Strollers are scary. That's amazing. Say that, right? Practice being the person your dog looks to for calm, and build your dog's confidence with leadership, structure, and meaningful play. And, there's many podcasts. Many of the podcasts here on Beyond Obedience podcast talk a lot about leadership and structure and play and all of that stuff. Binge listen to this podcast and find out some ideas there. Reach out to me. Jump into the free Facebook group. Ask some questions over there. Find out how you can do that. Right? And just to reiterate things, you can honor your dog's past without letting it define their future. That's what you need to do. So there you go, my friends. I hope this reaches you. I know so many of you out there are, dedicating so much time and love to the, to your rescue dog, and it shows. You're incredible. You're showing up here. You're learning more every day. You're showing up in the Facebook group and you're asking questions and you're sharing your pictures and you're sharing your wins. And I love every single part of that. If you want to work more closely with me, best way to do that is hop into the student community. Go to beyondobedience.ca/fearless. Check it out. I would love to take this journey with you. I would love to share this with you. Please consider joining us over there. And hey, if you enjoyed this episode and think it will help someone else, please be sure to give us a 5-star written review on Apple. Give us a comment and a 5-star rating over in Spotify. Share this on your socials. Let more dog lovers like you connect with us here on the show. That'd be great. Just more of us, just hanging out, chatting, talking dogs. I mean, who doesn't want that? As always, my friend, get out there today and be the person that your dog thinks you are. Because as I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times, your dog thinks you're amazing. And so do I. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now. Oh, and one more thing. This podcast is meant for entertainment and education purposes only and is not meant to replace hands-on professional training. If you are really struggling with your dog, please reach out to a professional in your area. All right, I think that's it. Bye for now.